Folks are back. This is Steve Sanson and Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Noreen DeMonte, Las Vegas Justice of the Peace, Department 10. But before we get to Judge DeMonte, Stephanie, have any rants?
No, but I just wanted to mention the Christmas party. Everybody is on December 18th. You were probably going to announce that, but it's at Neupitz on South Decatur. 1617 South Decatur. So get your RSVPs in and we will love to see you.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of stuff coming up in 25 and 26 and we're excited.
And bring the kids because Sandy's going to be there.
That's right.
And with Mrs. Claus. I thought she was a 10, but she's not. So
she's, real Mrs. Claus.
The real Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
Not Sandy's mistress, Mrs. Claus.
That's right. Okay, you better stop there because it's going downhill quick. Let's call it. Let's talk to the judge.
You have anything else?
That's it.
Judge DeMonte, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about you.
Okay, well, I am Las Vegas Justice of the Peace for Department 10. Right now it is a domestic violence department, but I'll be taking over a general criminal staff.
With Amy Wilson?
Yes, Amy Wilson is my partner. She's Department 7, I'm 10.
Okay.
So I'll be taking over a general criminal in January and passing the domestic violence torch on to, I believe, Nancy Bernstein.
Interesting.
Prior to that, I was at the district attorney's office for 18 years. Prior to that, I was actually a criminal defense attorney in private practice and originally from Indiana. And here I am.
How long have you been in Vegas?
I've been in Vegas since 2002.
Okay, so a while.
A little bit.
And you have kids. You have one son, you said?
I have one child.
One child.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading about you and because I always, have to prepare a little bit. But as a prosecutor, you prosecuted sex trafficking cases, right? And that's a huge problem here in Vegas. I've talked a lot about that. I've been involved in children's charities for a long time and they fight trafficking and I have my own as well. But with that, if you had a magic wand, just be a mom now, not a judge, not a lawyer, but if you had a magic wand and you could change the law, the penalties for these guys, what would you change? Because I don't think Nevada is very... the penalties
Here's
are
where it
stiff
gets
enough.
tricky, because if you asked me this question when I was still a prosecutor, I'd probably be able to answer that a little more freely. But now that I've taken on a different role, the role of a judge is to say what the law is, not what it ought to be. But I will say this much. Those cases were incredibly difficult to prosecute.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is my experience as a prosecutor was the bigger penalties I got were because the pimp actually happened to fall into another one of the categories that I specialized in, which was the repeat offender program. And so that's how I was able to get as large of a sentence as I was able to get on some of the cases I got in.
That's good. How many chances should these people get? I mean, it seems like these people, they're making deals. And, as a prosecutor, you're making deals on these cases. And, the court system is overloaded. I just think that there are, in some of these instances, that are so egregious that you shouldn't be able to make deals, in my opinion, on some of these.
So here is, I'll say this much as a prosecutor, and tagging onto they're very difficult cases to put on and prove. And the way I was able to get convictions on some of these cases was I actually had to throw the prostitutes in jail and hold them on material witness warrants to get them to testify. And that is not always something that is an option in all the prosecutions, because sometimes the pimps were, at least because I'm not doing that now, but back when I was doing it, they were very interconnected with each other. And so what would happen was a girl would go from one to another, and then kind of things would you would lose them. In order to get them on a material witness warrant, you would have to know where they are. And so a lot of times deals are made by prosecutors for a variety of reasons. And and I can't say that that's always the case, but I can say this much because I was a prosecutor for so long, is that sometimes they just try to get something on the case, tag them, because they realize that they've hit the end of the road. They may not be able to get much out of this case, if anything. And so tag it with this, and, knowing that they're probably going to see that person down the road, but at least the next time they see that person down the road for the next case, that person now has that conviction that a judge can look at and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to take this more seriously because they now have this prior conviction. So some of it was just a matter of tagging them with prior convictions so that you can kind of build it up, playing the long game. And it's tragic, and it's sad, and it's heartbreaking that the justice system works this way. But to be perfectly frank, there just aren't enough resources for the police, for the prosecutors. It's just not there. There's not enough police on the streets. I mean, the police kind of turn the case over to the district attorney's office, and investigation just stops right there. And then the district attorney's office has it, and they are understaffed by, I think at the time I left the DA's office, we were down it was in double digits. It was a lot. And we'd been down as much in the past, 23 positions. And that's a lot when you're talking about attorneys. And so, unfortunately, this is where we're at right now. And in a perfect world, they'd have a lot more resources.
And they would go away for life or have the death penalty.
And that's a legislative call. And
exactly.
the legislature can do. I mean, death penalty, you're running into the constitutional problem is, it's capital offenses, and capital offense is first degree.
No, I get it.
And that's it.
In my perfect world.
In your perfect world, yes.
Those guys, those traffickers and the pimps and what they do to these children. I mean, babies.
Stephanie, I don't know if you read some of the cases I did, but there's a sentencing memo I filed where I delineated how this man once broke his own 2-year-old child's leg.
Ugh. My gosh.
To punish the mother who was one of his prostitutes.
Oh my gosh.
That guy's doing 13 life sentences. So
okay, well that's good. That's good. But that kind of case and what they do, especially what happens at the border and all the trafficking, if the penalties were a lot more stiff and tough, these guys wouldn't be out reoffending. And that's, when you say you try to tag them, with the case, because they're going to get back out there and probably reoffend and then come back through the system. But that's another child or however many children, and that's unfortunate.
What needs to happen is, but there also needs to be more victim resources, be more places for these girls to go. Mm-hmm. And, and I don't know if you've talked to Annie Lobert. Annie Lobert's got that great Destiny House. And there are, Salvation Army was running a program too through the Southern Nevada Human Trafficking Task Force. And so the resources need to be there for those girls, because the problem is that you got a short window. You got to, when a girl gets picked up, and some of the investigations that worked the best were the girl got picked up and Metro had already been building a case on this pimp. And they just happened to catch that girl at the right time, in the right moment when she was ready to talk. And it usually takes something like that. It's just the stars had to align in just the right moment. To make it a case that you actually can prosecute. Because most of the time, those girls, they're going to say, that's my boyfriend. No, he's not pimping me. No, I'm doing this on my own. And that was my experience as a prosecutor. And I don't think that has changed. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. And, and we need to be better about teaching our girls from a younger age that, hey, you're worth more than this. Mm-hmm. One of the cases I had, gosh, I don't even remember how many years ago it was. It was a juvenile prostitute, and it was a really long time ago. And I was like, why are you doing this? 'Cause I'm good at it, is what she said.
Oh my goodness.
And it struck me that for that girl, no one probably told her she was good at anything else. Mm-hmm. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. You don't know where the breakdown happened, way back in her life.
And she was probably about 15.
Yeah.
And it's, and so you kind of see that and you take it into context and you multiply that by the thousands because we're Las Vegas and we have a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And they come in from other states to prostitute here. And so it's a matter of resources. It's not just a matter of flip the switch, your penalty's this. It's you got to make it so that the cases can actually be successful.
Right.
And a lot of times they just can't.
But you handle DV cases now.
Yes.
So as a woman, as a mom, and you see these, victims come in and offenders, how do you weigh that in your mind? Because you have to be fair to everybody and all that. How do you handle that?
Here's the thing is I have a personal life. Everybody does, and everybody's human. But you put on that black robe, you blend into the background. I am there as I absorb it all. I take your arguments. I look at the facts of the case. I look at the criminal history. And you make your decision based on what's in conformance with the law, and that's it. And you have to take the emotion out of it. And then you can go back in chambers and, kind of take a deep breath and chug a bunch of water and, have a moment and then get back out there and do the next one. But you cannot do that as a judge. You can't, you don't separate, you don't stop being a human being, but you have to compartmentalize it. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy.
I wouldn't think so.
How
many cases are you hearing a day?
We have roughly, depending on usually Mondays and Tuesdays are really loaded up because anybody who got arrested from Thursday through Sunday, they get a calendar date on Monday or Tuesday. Wednesdays and Thursdays are generally a little lighter, but usually I'm anywhere between 60 and 120 a day.
Holy cow.
And you got to do it all in the morning because the jail can't really do afternoon transports. The district attorneys and the public defenders can't really accommodate afternoons either. So you're compartmentalizing probably 8 hours worth of work into 4.5 to 5 hours. And so I talk really fast. Mm-hmm. I don't even use a court reporter. Everything in my department is recorded so that no one has to interrupt me to tell me that I need to slow down. Mm-hmm. So you talk really fast. You read everything. I use my afternoons to read everything for the next day so that I'm not up there shuffling through papers to try to figure out what's going on. And it's just, you're flying through. And honestly, if I didn't have as much experience as I did as both a prosecutor and a defense attorney, it would probably be a little harder, probably a lot harder.
Yeah.
But you just plow through it. I would love to be one of those smaller jurisdictions where I can spread it out throughout the day and I can.
Right.
Yeah. I used to do Boulder City. I was on the outer track. So I did Boulder City, I did Mesquite, Laughlin, I did Henderson.
How long have you been on the bench now?
I've been on the bench since I took the bench in January 2023.
And you said that, how long have you been handling domestic violence?
Since January 2023.
So you've been on there, what, a little over a year?
It's about almost 2 years. Yeah.
How does that change you? Did that change the way you view?
No, because I handled the cases as a prosecutor too.
Okay. So you were ready.
Yeah. I mean, doing criminal law for this long, without being a judge, as a prosecutor, as a defense attorney, any one of us who's immersed in criminal law for this long, we kind of, you see the worst in everybody all day long. Mm-hmm. You see everybody on their worst day. Mm-hmm. The victims, the defendants, sometimes even their attorneys. And you just have to, you get used to it. But you also do that thing where it's like, no, I'm not taking my child to that. No, I'm not.
But do you handle the small claims and the landlord-tenant stuff?
I do not. Those are the civil departments.
So you just completely
I'm all criminal.
So to bounce somebody over to district court, what do you look for?
District court is basically slight or marginal evidence. So the way the Supreme Court defines that is a scintilla of evidence. So basically, it's essentially a duplicate probable cause finding, because you do an initial probable cause finding when when the case first comes in, and then you do another one we call it a preliminary hearing, where it's almost like a little mini trial. The state just puts on enough of their evidence to show that they've got enough to keep the case going, to bind it up to district court. And then, of course, like the misdemeanors stay with me through sentencing.
What motivates you?
Me? I don't know. My family?
Is that what,
my dogs?
What motivated you to accept this kind of calendar in justice court?
Well, I didn't get to pick the calendar,
calendar
but I knew it was.
you?
I knew that's what I would end up getting.
Because of your background?
No, because I was one of the newer ones coming in. Nobody wants the domestic violence.
Touche. Okay.
Yeah, nobody wants.
So you're the new kid on the block. So
I was the new kid on the block. They gave me domestic violence, and it's okay. I knew how to do it. It was fine. But because it's sad. Domestic violence is sad. Nobody wants to see that all the time, and
Right.
And other judges who had it before me, they were like, "I know, Noreen. You're just like, can I please just have a burglary? Just give me a burglary."
So you have search warrants that you do, and what was there 16 of you? Is it
16 of us?
So you have it every
3 months.
Every 3 months.
3 or 4. 4. I think it calculates to 4 months. Right now, there's only 15 of us, so it's because Saragossa left. But it's somewhere between 3 and 4 months, and it is 1 full week, 6 p.m. Thursday to 6 p.m. Thursday,
so you're
24/7.
24/7.
And you're the only judge for justice court.
And what do you look for in these search warrants?
It's basically another probable cause finding. So the officer has to explain to the judge that there's probable cause to believe that A, there was some sort of crime that they're investigating, and B, that there is evidence of that crime to be found at the location they are seeking to search.
Do you make sure that the description fits the person that they want to search?
Well, the thing is, all you're getting is the paper, so I don't see the person. So
no, do they give you a description of who
they give you a description. If they're trying to search a person, yes, there's always a description. If they're trying to search a house, there's always a description of the house. They'll usually say brown stucco with blue trim with the numbers 8157.
Right, and that person, that officer, has to take an oath saying everything.
Yes, so we have to swear them in first.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Under penalty of perjury.
It's a so help you. I do a so help you God, but
and sometimes they do it on the phone.
Yes, sometimes they're telephonics,
and they have to have a witness with them while they're doing this. What happens if you find out if this officer was just feeding you a line of crap, was giving you bad intel, bad information, knowingly giving you bad information? How would you handle that as a judge?
I don't know if that's something I'm going to be able to know unless the case winds up in front of me and then there's motion work subsequently. But
that you found out about this.
Yeah, so. I mean, if you find out about it, the appropriate thing to do, and it kind of all depends on. I mean, we're talking in a hypothetical here, but like.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up because this has happened to a judge, and I'm just trying to get your perspective on how you would handle it if you were that judge that it happened to by an officer. Yeah,
so I mean, it's never okay for an officer to knowingly do that. I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Happened to Douglas Smith.
Okay. Dougie's long gone.
True that. He is long gone. But it did happen.
And so, I mean, it kind of depends.
Long gone.
He retired a long time ago. I did a lot of cases in front of him. So
he wanted to lock me up one time.
He locked everybody. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal.
I was quoting law to him and he didn't like that.
Judge Smith put a lot of people away for a really long time. So, it
Yeah, did I
Judge
throw you
Smith
off?
story. So we'll go to a Judge Smith story. A human trafficking case. We were doing sentencing, and I argued the sentencing, and Judge Smith hammered him, and the defendant then screamed something about fucking bitch or something like that. And I was like, was he referring to me? And Judge Smith goes, no, I think it was me.
I like you, Judge.
You like me? But I was like, it was my job to argue. Judge Smith didn't have to do it, but
I'm gonna bleep that out later.
No, we're unedited, baby.
I know. I'm just kidding.
it was on the record that way. But anyway, so I have to say how I would handle it, I guess, would probably be dictated with how I learned that it had occurred. If I had learned that it occurred through motion work, then of course you take the appropriate steps and you do everything, but everything has to be done on the record.
Right.
Everything. Now, if it wound up being a case that's not even mine, that would be something for the judge that landed with the case to deal with. I don't do anything with that. And if there's any internal investigation that results in it, of course, I would comply. But yeah, it sort of depends on the circumstance.
Okay.
I know that was a terrible non-answer. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll let you slide.
Thanks.
But do you see any other situations? Any other seats you want to move to, or are you just?
So I have been toying with running for district court.
How is that toying?
How's that toying? I'm giving it serious consideration, but I haven't made any decisions yet.
I think you'll make a great district court judge.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I did a lot of trials. I did a lot of trial work in my time at the DA's office. And, justice court kind of stops at preliminary hearing. And so I know I'm qualified for it. It's just a matter of whether
How long have you been practicing law now?
So I was barred in 2003.
Okay.
So 21 years.
21 years. Oh, yeah. So you got the years in. And you've been a prosecutor for how long?
I was a prosecutor for 18, a defense attorney for about 1.
You ever thought about running for district attorney?
That, what's funny is
Have you toyed with that one?
I did. Well, I toyed with it only briefly because in order to run for district attorney,
2 of those seats are up.
in order to run for district attorney, I would have to give up my seat as a judge. Judicial ethics prevents me from doing it. So just to run, I would have to
unless
quit.
you know that you really.
Yeah. So
98% you're gonna get that.
I would love to be to run for district attorney, but I no.
I would like to see a female DA one day in Clark County.
I think we will. I think we will.
I think that
there's
time is probably
there's a
quick.
lot of good female DAs that are still DAs that can do very well with that.
So in the district attorney's office, I'm sure you went from different departments, right?
I was in a lot of teams, yeah.
And what departments did you?
Okay, so I was on the DUI team, and then I did general litigation. I did repeat offenders. I did gun crimes, and I finished my career on the DUI team.
And which of those gained your interest the most?
So I did repeat offenders for 12 years. That was the longest stint I did. Okay. And I have to say, my last assignment on the DUI team, it was kind of funny because I was running at the time, and I was very happy prosecuting those cases to the point where I actually was like, if I lose, I'm fine. I'll just stay here.
People, I get very happy.
Huh? No, I don't get happy going after people, but it was, I don't know. The DUI team, DUIs, they're hard cases. They're really hard cases, and they're emotionally hard cases, but they're incredibly serious cases. And you want to talk about human trafficking being prolific in Las Vegas, DUIs. So I really took that role incredibly seriously. And the DUI team at the DA's office, they're such a good, incredible group of people that I just loved being in that moment. And it was it was happy. I was very happy. And I'm happy where I am now. It's just, God has blessed me. So.
What do you do to unwind?
Play with the dogs. Shop. I do a lot of singing in the car.
See, when I do these shows, I like my audience to know the person.
Okay.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
That's what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to know the person and know how knowledgeable the person is when whatever particular seats that they decide to run. Know that the person's competent and know that the person's a human being just like everybody out there. So that's what I try to gain. So that way, basically, the audience could bond with the interviewer or with the
I perfectly get that.
And I just when I look at you and I talk to you, I'm like, man, I can hang out with this person.
I thank you. I appreciate that. I like hanging out with you guys.
Cool person. You know how some people, when they get elected and they become a judge or senator, they get all snobbish and
here's the thing.
Stuff like that. And
I actually don't
like
it when I hear people call me judge, especially people that have known me all this time. They say, "Hey, judge," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, please don't."
I'm only doing this because I'm trying to be professional on the show.
But when I first got elected, Steve Wolfson was like, "You have a new first name, and it's Judge." And I still can't wrap my head around that. I'm just Noreen. I don't know.
And people do admire that. They do like that.
And they do. And they like to call me that. And I don't want to take that away from them. And that's perfectly fine. But I don't want people to feel like they have to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless they're before you.
Yeah, yes. If you're before me, please don't call me by my first name.
Yeah, you get a slap. Get that Marshall.
I don't. But yeah, it's.
Tell me about your team.
Yeah.
Tell me about your team. You're Marshall. You got a Marshal. You got a JA. You got a legal law clerk, right? No, you don't have a law clerk.
I don't have a law clerk.
You share a law clerk.
No. The civils have a law clerk, and I think
you don't have a law clerk.
Justice Court in general has a law clerk, and the civils have a law clerk, but I don't have one.
So you got a JEA.
I do my own research.
And a Marshal.
I have a JEA. I've got a clerk and I have a chair 1, a chair 2 clerk, my court recorder, and a marshal. So.
And what do you look for when you get your JA, and what do you look for when you get your marshal?
So I was very lucky with my JEA. So my JEA is I'm sure you've probably seen her around, Delois Williams. She worked for Judge Gates, then Judge Vega, and then Judge Bennett Herron.
Okay.
And
Bennett Herron has been around for a minute.
Yeah, and Judge Gates even before that.
Oh yeah.
And so my JEA, she's fantastic. So.
Okay. And is she when you say fantastic, what do you mean by that?
She's just a beautiful person, and she's she knows the job. She's done the job. Gosh, before I even started practicing law, she was doing the job. But she's also a beautiful person. She's amazing.
And your marshal?
My marshal is we call him Red.
Why is that?
But he goes by Red.
Okay.
He goes by Red, and he came to Las Vegas Justice Court from Henderson. I think he was Henderson Muni before that, and he's fantastic as well.
Is he willing to jump in front of that bullet for you?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Someone launching themselves over the bench.
Well, there's that. My bench is a little higher than those third floor ones. They built that floor different than the rest of the building, and that bench was lower. So.
And do you feel safe in the courthouse?
Not always, no.
Okay. And what needs to be fixed that would make you feel more comfortable?
I could probably take you a tour of the building and show it to you, but first of all, we don't have enough marshal personnel.
I would like the tour.
First and foremost, we do not have enough marshal personnel, and I think that's something they're working on after what happened with Judge Holthus. Because I think, many years ago, when I first moved here, I believe there was a part-time position for marshals that would cover the period of time in the mornings when all the criminal calendars were happening. Because all the criminal calendars are in the mornings. And you've got all the transports happening, and you got in custodies, and you got a flood of the general public coming in. And so there used to be, from what I'm hearing from people who are much older than me and around older than me, is that we did used to have a position for that. And the beauty of that part-time position is because of PERS, retired police officers really can't be marshals because they're collecting PERS. And it's a full-time gig that pays into PERS. So Nevada PERS doesn't allow those. But part-time positions, the beautiful thing about part-time positions is it doesn't go into PERS. So you can get retired police officers who are drawing a retirement that have the know-how, that know the building and have incredible experience, and get them into the courtrooms during the time period when you need them the most. Because let's be honest, when hardly anybody's in the building in the afternoon because all the criminal calendars are over, you don't need that many marshals floating around. It's that morning period. And if we could get back those positions, I think it would be a much more secure building overall. I don't know if there's an appetite for that, and maybe somebody at the county is watching. Hello, County Commission, please. And there's also, there's doors that people have access to exit that they should just close it off, make it fire exit only, because what happens is, somebody will leave the building for a Starbucks run and go out these back doors that open up to Casino Center, and they don't always pay attention to whether the door is closed behind them. And so there's a lot of need. And I think a lot of people don't pay as much attention to their personal security as they should, just overall, no matter where you are. And I grew up in that time where, my rule in my house was we had to come home when the streetlights came on. And was that your rule?
That's
was
right.
that your rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore. And I think everybody kind of needs to just have a head on a swivel. You got to constantly be. So if you ask me if things are secure enough, no.
I like honesty from my elected official, by the way. Thank you for that.
No, of course. But but it's not anyone's fault.
Exactly.
It's just we all have to pay much closer attention to what's going on.
Okay.
And I think after what happened to Judge Holthus, there's a little more happening with that.
They probably going to build it a little higher.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with those courtrooms.
Have you had the opportunity to visit CCDC?
As a tour or?
As a tour.
Well, I was a criminal defense attorney first,
So you were there all the
I've been
time?
there.
Okay.
And I was there as a prosecutor. So I never took part in any tours because I worked there.
You made your own tour.
I did my own thing. I did the trick where I signed in and walked through the Sally Port and waited for the next door to open. So anyway.
Have anybody complained to you about what's going on in there, that they're not being treated right or anything like that? The food sucks or whatever?
Here's the thing about the food is, did you know that they used to allow county employees to eat in their cafeteria?
At the
Yes.
jail?
So yeah, they used to. And
Who'd want to go eat there?
apparently some of their district court judicial law clerks were doing it, and they were raving about the food. They thought it was really good. So I don't know anything about the food.
What's the food?
I have no idea, but I have actual recollection of district court law clerks telling me they're going to go to lunch at CCDC, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's actually good." So I don't know.
Downtown.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
I've actually heard reports that it's good.
We need tickets
Now, the
to
thing
over
is,
there too.
I don't think
We're gonna have some food at the jail.
and I don't think it's something they offer to the regular employees anymore. But yeah,
I
how
wouldn't
many
want
years
to go
ago
at all.
was it?
I would think it's bad juju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the building itself, it smells. So you can smell it from Casino Center.
Really?
Yeah. Have you walked past Casino Center, past the jail?
It's been a minute.
Oh, yeah. Just
Like sewer?
No, like
BO?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And they don't clean that up?
Well, they clean as much as they can, but
Isn't Sheriff McMahill over the jail?
yeah. It's been that way as long as I can remember. And I think every jail in the country has that same smell.
Get that BO smell. It's coming through my window. Do you have a view, by the way, of your chambers?
No, I don't have a window in my chambers.
You don't have a window?
I was a new kid on the block.
Oh, they need to take. Are you at the Phoenix?
Next time you'll get one.
I think January I get better. I get better digs in January.
Are you
but-
at the Phoenix building?
No, I'm in the RJC.
Oh, they need to take care. Who should I talk to?
I'll get taken care of. I get to move in January. So
Oh, you're gonna handle it?
no, I get to move.
won't-
They're actually
I can handle it for you if
they
you
actually are moving me. It's okay. I do get better gigs. I'll have better digs.
What would you tell new judges that are just coming in? Because we got Crystal Bradford. She's coming in there, and well, Susan Bauckham is a professional. Anyway, she's been around.
Susie's a pro.
So
Susie's
she
a pro.
did. But what would you tell new judges that are just coming on board? What would you say to them?
Well, what's
kind of
funny,
advice would you
I
give
had
them?
Nancy Bernstein actually sitting with me last week because she's actually taking over my calendar. So she sat with me.
How was that, by the way?
What?
That conversation.
That conversation? Oh, Nancy's a lovely person. And so I told Nancy, I said, just take a deep breath, be patient.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and it's kind of weird. I was like, but I'm going to prepare you for this moment. I was like, because it caught me off guard my first day on the bench, is you think you're okay and you're up there and you're looking down at your papers and all of a sudden you look up and every eye in the room is on you. And you're like, do I have something on my face? Like, what? But it's,
you keep a mirror up there, by the way?
no, gosh, no. No. But remember, everything in my courtroom is recorded. So I can actually see myself on monitors.
Oh, on the monitors.
And it's kind
You
of
get to
funny because
zoom
it's
in?
like, I don't get to zoom in, but every once in a while I cringe because I realize how much I talk with my hands. So-
Are you Italian?
no, I'm married Italian, but I'm not Italian. So-
It rubbed off.
I'm Italian by marriage.
Okay, that's good too.
I guess it counts.
Yeah, that counts.
But yeah, no, I mean, so what I told her, I said, be patient. I said, make sure that you make it very clear that you are the last word.
Do you have many court observers that come in
Every once in a while.
to your?
Every
Do
once
you
in a while.
like that or encourage that? Because a lot
I
of
always
people
encourage
don't
people
even
to-
know that they can come down.
No, it is a public forum. I always encourage people. If you're curious, by all means, but be respectful. Don't be disruptive. But
Well, when I go in there, I'm very quiet.
you were quiet. You were when I was in there that one day, you were just kind of lurking in the back of the room. I
just
was like,
in
"What
the
are you
back.
doing here?"
Minding my own business, looking around, taking mental notes. I won't even write anything down. I just take mental notes.
I know.
Yeah, so I like it the way I do it. I don't know how the other court observers do it.
Most people are respectful. And it really kind of boils down to, I don't know, my marshal's really on top of it. So, if people start making hay, they're out.
Then they got to go.
You're invited to leave because we have business to do.
So what do you have a mentor or anything like that? Somebody you go to for guidance, or maybe you have a difficult decision.
We kind of rely on each other a lot.
Okay.
There were 5 of us that all got elected at the same time. So it was Judge Goody, Judge Wilson, Judge Rebecca Sachs, myself, and Nadia Wood. Okay. And I don't know if you do this. We call ourselves the Gingers. And Nadia.
I heard.
Yeah, because it's 4 redheads and Judge Wood.
I heard.
So, we've got our little ginger crew. And, it's usually by text message because we're all on the bench at the same time. And so somebody will send a text message. Hey, I have this, this is the scenario. And most of the time it's not what would you do? It was, what's the definition of this? How do we do this? And so, because we all come with a different skill set and so sometimes they'll be like, nope, it's this case. This is the case you want to talk about. This is the case. So it's mostly relying on each other for research.
Do you follow the Constitution?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Of course I do.
You're easy to talk to.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Some people, when they sit where you sit, I'm a little bit more, I'm going to find out about this one. But you seem, the way, you just got a different vibe about you. because I like to read people, and you got a different vibe.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That's good. That comes through to the public and the audience, because so many people, we hear it all the time. No one knows any of the judicial candidates. They don't know the judges. And then, we get tons of calls.
Part of it is because they're all, district court especially, they're all on the ballot at the same time.
Mm-hmm. There's 67 seats that are up for judges altogether in Southern Nevada.
I know.
Oh, no, and I shouldn't say Southern, because I don't think I counted Good Springs and Mesquite, because we don't too much endorse those.
I think Good Springs just had an election, so they're not going to be up for another 6.
And Searchlight and Laughlin.
Mesquite will probably be up. Laughlin, Searchlight was just up. Good Springs was just up.
I only did the 2 Supremes and Boulder, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Boulder, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson.
Okay.
And then, the district court judges. So those are the ones. And it came up to about 67 judges on the ballot. And
a lot.
That doesn't even include district attorney and attorney general.
No.
They're not judges, but they're still
but
legal.
It counts. It's all in the system.
Yeah. Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else from Judge DeMonte?
I don't. She covered a lot.
Well, I have something for you guys, because I know you guys are collecting toys for Tots here. So I did bring the toy, but here is also a gift card.
Oh,
for
that is sweet. Thank you so much.
Whatever.
That is so kind.
Judge DeMonte, do you have anything that you like to say or anything while we still have
I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay. Well, Mark is going to zoom in on you.
Is he? Oh, I get a Zoom for that.
You have the final say.
I get the final say. I like it.
And you could say whatever you want to say, or you could give a point of contact. You don't have to give one, but you can. It's just totally up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Well, all right. All right. Well, to all the folks watching, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hoping everyone has a blessed and prosperous New Year as well.
Well, Judge DeMonte, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, sir. And
Stephanie,
thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see
folks.
you.
That's Judge Noreen DeMonte, Las Vegas Justice Peace Department 10, and I am telling you, this is a wonderful interview. I was so relaxed, and Judge DeMonte is so easy to talk to. And if she does decide to run for district court judge, I think she'll make a superb addition to the 8th Judicial District Court. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.